Last year alone, we created well over 360,000 jobs in the healthcare industry. And when people ask me, Secretary, where is the job growth in the country given that we are in such a bad recession and economic crisis, I tell them that the healthcare industry, and don't quote me, but I say that it's recession-proof. Because clearly every month, this is where jobs have been created in the private sector. And so this gives me a warm sense that we're going to be able to meet and actually exceed some of the goals that we have set for ourselves. The Bureau of Labor Statistics alone says that by 2018, there's going to be a projected added of 4 million jobs in the healthcare industry. So I can see that future for the healthcare industry and our veterans, a growing family, and something that I definitely want to be a part of as long as I'm in this administration. I want to commend again Magellan for providing a roadmap and the leadership that's necessary to help other industries move along in this direction. And I also want to acknowledge your company and its activities in recruitment and retention of wounded warriors through counseling and supportive services. I want to also briefly mention that the President has made, as you know, a very strong commitment on behalf of those that are serving us in the military. First Lady Michelle Obama and Dr. Jill Biden have done extraordinary work to support military families, and I've been able to join them with employers in other venues to help provide support so that military families and veterans that are coming home can find employment while they are sent to other places around this country. Again, I commend those companies that are stepping up to the plate. President Obama, as you know, signed an executive order establishing the Veterans Employment Initiative, and I'm proud to be serving as one of his co-chairs of the Interagency Council on Veterans Employment. And the very fact that we're here today, I think, is a good extension of what we're attempting to do. This is exactly what the President wants to see. I also want to note that my staff, the Veterans Employment and Training Department, VETS, has worked very hard alongside with our Office of Disability Employment Programs, the ETA administrator who will join us later, Jane Oates, to help provide the support that you need in working with you to help identify where these populations are, to help to provide the job training that's necessary, and to make those accurate types of targeted placements. So I want to commend them for that. I want to also say that we are also making an initiative to help female veterans. And that's something that is a big concern of mine personally. And I speak in this manner because as a former member, I represented a district that had well over, I'd say a very large percentage of veterans. And Los Angeles County alone had over 100,000 veterans. So oftentimes our casework alone was driven by military folks and families. And I understand the problems that many of those families face and the young men and women who are coming back, who want to find employment, who are trying to reintegrate into our society, many that have had and will have tremendous challenges, but obstacles that we can help remove. And I think that's why you're hearing, I guess, my passion, as some people remind me, that it is something that I care very deeply about. I know that you'll hear a lot today about different programs that are being offered. I want to just mention one that we are promoting, and that is America's Heroes at Work.gov at the Department of Labor, and I'm sure that my staff will be able to provide you more information. But basically, we have started a pilot program with the Office of Disability Employment that's run by Kathy Martinez, an outstanding individual, my Assistant Secretary, who, if many of you haven't met her, I would encourage you to meet her. She's a dynamo, incredible individual, and she's legally blind, but she gets it. She understands what some of these barriers are and has helped us piece together a good program here. I would encourage you to see her. America's Heroes at Work.gov. We're encouraging HR professionals and companies represented here today to check out our online training tools. So I would encourage you to do that as well. Real Lifeline, something that we're doing as a joint program with the Department of Defense that directly will help combat veterans returning home as they go through warrior transition units, something that we care about. We've created a seamless personalized assistance network to make sure that wounded warriors are connected to employment specialists as soon as they return home. And every warrior transition unit at the VA hospital has a dedicated staff person committed to making referrals back to local contacts so a veteran has a specialist to work with. Those are just some examples of what we're doing. I also want to put in a plug for something a little, maybe just deviating a little bit, and this has to do with some of our apprenticeship programs that we operate. There's nothing that would prohibit us from actually extending some of those opportunities in the apprenticeship programs to, again, assist veterans that are making transition before they actually leave their bases or their places of deployment here in the States to get training in our apprenticeship programs, and some of which will look at health care. So just as another item for you to look at as another way. We do it with, helmets to hard hats in the construction industry right now. We should be able to do it in the healthcare industry. So I look forward to working with all of you, and I really am excited again and just want to reiterate the importance and priority that this has and what significant movement we're beginning today. So I want to personally applaud all of you. It is really my honor to be with you. So I want to say thank you very much, and I want to commend Rene Lear for everything he's done and for our partners here at the federal government, but more importantly, the boots on the ground. And that's the folks that you work with, your facilities, and the veterans and their families that we want to continue to serve and lift up. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, and Madam Secretary, the comments were just great and very inspiring. And the goal of this meeting, obviously, is to take that inspiration and move it from maybe not hard hats to helmets, but maybe helmets to gowns or whatever we need to do. But I think you'll find the commitment in this room will grow, and with your support and your staff support, we're incredibly appreciative for your help. Let me now turn it over again to Governor Malloy from Connecticut.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for your call about 6 weeks ago, telling me about this meeting and inviting me to participate. It was an honor to receive that call, as it is an honor to be with all of you here today, a group of distinguished public servants, military personnel, and industry leaders. Let me also begin by thanking all of you for your, obviously, dedication to this issue. Let me tell you a little bit why I was more than happy to accept this invitation and spend some portion of my day with all of you who, in doing what you are doing, have proven yourselves worthy of the title of hero. In Connecticut, where I come from, the two largest industries are the insurance industry and the military-industrial complex, which manufactures, with 80 aerospace companies, the engines that fly many of our service people into action, the helicopters that remove many of our injured when they're injured. I can also tell you that Connecticut has done its share in sending our sons and daughters to action in theaters across the world. In the short time that I've been governor, less than 6 months, I've been notified of 6 deaths and attended ceremonies to greet soldiers coming home. And I and my lieutenant governor have also attended ceremonies marking the occasion of people leaving to join in appropriate theaters around the world. I am struck by the fact that what worries many of our soldiers once they are received their orders is whether that job that they're giving up or leaving behind will be available to them, or in the event that they're injured, whether they will have the skill set that matches the job that they've left and is promised to them when they return. The work that you have pledged yourself to do to make sure that those heroes who return will find gainful employment, which is, after all, the #1 interest all of our injured heroes once they've completed their course of treatment. The idea of having a job and rebuilding one's self-respect and aiding and assisting a family in meeting its needs is really what they want the most, besides being just like everybody else. The opportunity to lend in that effort and to take a leadership role, which you've all chosen to do, is really admirable. I want to say that the reason I'm here as a governor is to make sure that, A, you understand that I support what you're doing. And I have offered to Renee to be a liaison to all of the governors across the country to make sure that they are well aware of the efforts that you're making. After all, state governments are the largest procurer of your services in total. And it is important that our procurement officials in our states are fully aware of the efforts that you're taking on behalf of our citizens. Again, I want to say to you that we want to be your partner in this endeavor. We want to make it work for you and for us. In many ways, wounded veterans that return to our states, we have a special responsibility to. We understand it, and we are getting better every day at meeting that responsibility. But to be here with you, folks who are prepared to extend yourselves above and beyond the call, and, by the way, also access some highly trained and incredibly talented individuals in your workforce, is a great honor. Anything I can do to be engaged in this effort on your behalf, to make sure that it's fully understood and appreciated by other governors and procurement officials across the country, would be a great honor for me to provide that service. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much, Governor. Appreciate it, and appreciate your support and your attendance. Is Congressman Deutch? I'll turn it over to you for comments.
Thank you very much, and apologize for being a couple of minutes late. The Secretary recalls those days, I'm sure. I'd like to start by thanking every company here today for showing your commitment to America's veterans. By recognizing the sacrifices endured by our servicemen and women and the unique challenges that they face, the healthcare industry is truly leading by example. And I am optimistic that today's event will have a ripple effect throughout the private sector. That's what's starting here today. I'm proud to be joined by Secretary Hilda Solis, thankful for her leadership in helping our servicemen and women transition into the workforce. Her vision of good jobs for everyone underscores the dignity found by all Americans in a hard day's work, and her commitment to our veterans, as well as that of the Obama administration's commitment, shines through in the work that she does every day to ensure that they launch meaningful careers as civilians. I'd also like to thank Dr. Lair and his team at Magellan Health Services for coordinating this event and spearheading efforts to provide better mental health care for our troops as they come home. Also honored to be joined by Governor Dan Malloy, Deputy Assistant Secretary John Campbell of Defense, Deputy Assistant Secretary Mark Johnson of Housing and Urban Development, Assistant Secretary Ray Jefferson of the Department of Labor, Administrator Pamela Hyde from Department of Health and Human Services, and Deputy Chief of Staff Teresa Boyd of the VA, showing the breadth of commitment as well as the depth of commitment to this issue by this administration. I also want to thank my colleagues from the House, some of whom are here, may be coming, in particular Congressman Chris Murphy, Congressman Andrew Crenshaw, Congresswoman Nikki Tsongas, and Congressman John Larson. They, along with my other colleagues in the House, come from every corner of the country, and we look forward to working with all of you and your facilities as you carry out the commitment that's being made here today to help our returning veterans.